This time of year, you might find an artist anywhere in Maine, on the coast, on the trails, in the mountains, getting inspiration from the natural beauty of our state.
Some places have been getting artistic attention for a long time, and few have been more popular than Monhegan. 2 at 7's Don Kerrigan is here to share the story of a rare devotion to Monhegan art. Hey, Don.
Hi, guys. That's for sure. Monhegan Island, of course, has been attracting painters and sculptors and other artists for as much as 150 years. And that art, collecting that art, became a mission, a passion for two people who fell in love with the island and then with each other. Monhegan is one of those places, from the often calm west side to the more dramatic east, that keeps people coming back.
Just seeing the island and seeing the lighthouse and the museum on top of the hill, it's just a very peaceful place.
People like Susan Bateson and Stephen Fuller.
Because as you walk across it from the harbor, which is at sea level, and you end up on the eastern side, which is 160 feet above the water, sheer cliff.
They've been coming to the island for years. Stephen first discovered Monhegan on his sailboat and loved the island so much.
This is the first, in a sense, because this is Whitehead.
So much that on the way home to Virginia, he bought this painting.
What I was trying to do is find something about Monhegan that I could take home with me.
A few months later, he bought a second painting. Then Stephen met Susan, and for his birthday, she bought him another painting. And then he asked her to sail here.
We came out here to Monhegan, didn't see a thing because it was foggy the entire week of sailing.
Soon, she too was hooked. The college professor and the HR executive got married and, of course, started buying more Monhegan paintings. Things just started to grow from there? You didn't set out, I assume, to acquire 90-some paintings.
No, I think it was very much as we learned the story and explored the island, coming ashore, more of it enchanted us. And so it was, as we saw other paintings, but that would be something we'd like to live with.
It becomes somewhat of an addiction. Like any hobby.
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
You do it because you get joy from doing it.
Lots of joy. From those first 3 paintings in 2008, their collection grew to 90, all of Monhegan by 50 different artists.
In the process, not only learned about the artists, the biographical history,
but also about the history of Monhegan itself and why so many artists have come to this remote place for so long.
The 170 years of artists coming to Monhegan have really documented the history of this place in a way that's really unusual.
Jennifer Pye is director of the Monhegan Art and History Museum. She says famous art teachers came from the big cities in the early 20th century to escape the summer heat.
I had a lot of students in New York, and those students included Edward Hopper and Rockwell Kent and George Bellows, and so they both went and spread the word about Monhegan.
When Stephen and Susan moved to Maine full-time, they already had a strong connection to the museum, which has just opened an exhibit of their entire collection.
It looks so beautiful.
I'm totally blown away. In fact, as I look around here, I can't believe this was ours at one point. Recently, it hung on our walls.
And I've said to several people, it looked as though the paintings are happy to be home.
Home because Susan and Stephen have donated all 90 paintings to this museum. Some are by famous artists like Rockwell Kent and George Bellows, who did this portrait of the museum's founder.
He painted the 2 daughters. The other daughter, the companion piece to this, is in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York.
Wow. The collection is now on display in the gallery, in the History Museum, and a former artist studio across the village. And for Monhegan, this collection is much more than art. It also is the island's history over 170 years.
This completely changes how we're able to tell the stories of this place. It's a really important collection.
For Fuller and Bateson, this may be bittersweet. The paintings that have been part of their lives and filled their home are now gone.
They will never be hung all together again.
After this exhibit, the museum will rotate the paintings through other exhibits in years to come. But they will all be right here.
We knew that sharing it with the public would bring us joy. And this was the place it should come home to, because this is the place that inspired every one of these works.
Art of and from Monhegan Island, brought here by the love of one couple for this small and unforgettable piece of Maine. That exhibit at the museum and gallery on Monhegan Island is now open 7 days a week through the end of September. And while we would think they have all these empty walls at their house, they kept a few paintings and said, if a good one comes up, they might start a new collection.
You know, collectors have that collecting bug. It doesn't go away.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's interesting because he talked about what first prompted him to want to bring home a little piece of Monhegan. And I think that's a nearly universal feeling for anyone who's been out there. You would love to bring a little piece of Monhegan home with you.
Yeah, and it brought him to move here.
That's the power of Monhegan.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Don.
Thanks.